Hi, my name is Elsy. Back then, I was a high schooler from the eastern part of Indonesia who was privileged to continue the study on the western part of Indonesia at Universitas Negeri Malang. Talking about privilege, I remember one day when I was in Kupang, my homeland, my friend once told me that I was the luckiest child. T, you're the luckiest child to have a family that never uses violence at home. You had no clue what it feels like when you got slapped by your parents because of getting bad grades or making mistakes. Unfortunately, not only one friend of mine said so. A number of other friends were in the same condition. And I also think that at some point, I would stop listening to such cases, the normalization of violence 10 years ago. Earlier this year, on January 20, 2023, according to the news covered by MediaIndonesia.com, a 2-year-old toddler in Tunua village, South Central Timor, East Nusa Tenggara, experienced violence by being locked up and tied up in an empty house. And according to the perpetrator, who is his adoptive mother, the reason was because this child often played in his own faces, so she had an idea to tie the victim up before feeding the cause in the garden. Well, of course, from the story and headline, different opinions cross every reader's mind. Some may think that, well, it's okay to do such thing to give a lesson to the child. But if we think about it, on the basis of humanity, one thing is for sure. Violence is not acceptable for any reasons and backgrounds, especially when it involves children. I remember there's a popular saying that reads, "Children are the hope of the nation." How can we expect a good apple in the future if we don't pay attention to the planting medium, the way we nurture the garden and the environment around the apple tree itself? Growing in peace is not every child's dream, but it is the most basic right. Every single issue could meet its solution without violence nor pressure. And violence will not only hurt physically, but also affect the victims mentally. This should make us realize that it is our responsibility to pay full attention, to open each other's eyes, that acts of violence are not something that can be normalized in the excuse to use it as a lesson. Then the big question is, how? First, acknowledge the humanity behind the tragedies. They're more than news headline, viral social media post, or even neighbor talk. It is a human story that is being told. So when we read or listen, use the sense of humanity, and this leads us to the next point. Help them in every way we can. We could process the sense of humanity, the empathy, into an action. We could get involved directly in the problem. We could sign petitions. We could talk on social media, but be aware of any sensitive data and documents. And finally, protect them from the violence, not normalize it. I need to underline this. Our voice matters. Do not assume that injustice and cruelty is a consequence of living in this world. No. Strive now, because it is the mindset of a change maker. Everything will become easier when we work together for a change. Work hand in hand for realizing the SDGs Goal number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And let's put this in mind. Being free from violence is not a gift or privilege that we get at a certain time, but an absolute basic right that is an important part of our life. I'm Elsy from Universitas Negeri Malang. Thank you for listening.